analysts reset Nvidia stock price target, we see a bit of consolidation, and hopefully we're to hit about $6 trillion in valuation by the end of the year. Nvidia, NVDA, one of the most popular AI tech stocks right now that is leading the entire tech space in the US, alright, and we've seen it rise by more than 150% since the beginning of 2024. So where are we right now? Can there be more upside? What are some of the news that have came out over the past few weeks? Hey guys, Joey here, top tier MyZeal, trader in Philip Securities, and in this video, I'll be sharing with you about Nvidia, alright, where we are, and also we look at the charts in a bit, but I want to cover some of the news flow that have came out over the past few weeks, what are some of the new analyst targets for this stock, and if there could actually be higher target prices. So if you don't get an overview of how Nvidia is doing right now, and if you should be getting in, or maybe even getting out, right, make sure you watch this video all the way to the end. So Nvidia is currently one of the top 3 most valuable companies in the world, right, with more than $3 trillion of market cap, and due to its products, right, due to its AI chips being in huge demand, Nvidia actually has to choose who to give its chips to, whether is it like Google Alphabet or Amazon or Meta platforms, where all of them are kind of like buying its chips. So just to cover a bit of what has happened for Nvidia over the past few months in terms of their earnings results and revenue, right? So you can see right over here, Nvidia has consistently blown away investor expectation on revenue and earnings. And just in May, Nvidia reported a revenue of $26.04 billion for its fiscal 2025 first quarter, right? And that was more than triple, right, what it was in the year ago, as you can see over here, right? And EPS came in about $5.98 compared to about 82 cents. So essentially the top and bottom line, the revenue and the profits easily surpass analyst estimates. And that's why Nvidia has surged up tremendously over the past couple of months. So Nvidia actually done a stock split just last month, where they did a 10-for-1 stock split. So the price has adjusted downwards by about 10 times. So it used to be like $1,000 and above, but now 1,000 divided by 10, so it's like about $100 and above. So after the stock split, the number of shares that you have will also go up by about 10 times. So there is surging demand for AI related hardware that could sustain Nvidia performance. As I mentioned, right, there's huge demand for its chips, and many of those companies like even Amazon, Google Alphabet, Meta, that are building the entire AI capabilities as well, right, due to ChatGPT and all that, they would have to have Nvidia's product. So some of the analysts have highlighted the potential of Nvidia, given that Nvidia NVDA supply chain is gearing up to deliver $150 to $200 billion of data center sales in 2025, right? And amid the ongoing AI boom, Nvidia has been unable, right, to keep up with surging demand, as I mentioned, for its data center products. So another component that could support growth in Nvidia is due to its shift in truly offering what we call a full stack solution. So rather than just purely supplying chips like it does in the past, Nvidia has launched what they call a Blackwell platform. One of their products is a new technology, all right, and due to this platform, it offers what we call a full stack solution, supporting the data center needs required to train and run those AI workloads that many of these customers actually need. So Blackwell is already in high demand, all right, and is expected to drive Nvidia's growth even further over the next few years. So let's take a look at another news article whereby another analyst has reset Nvidia's stock price target in chip sector overhaul. So the analyst mentioned that most of the demand is being driven by major US cloud providers, right, with server partners noting demand is upticking at Meta and even Microsoft, but we're also seeing sustained demand by China as well, right? So that's where many of the products that Nvidia is selling is also going to China. So these so-called hyperscalers, which include Google, parent Alphabet, and Amazon, are poised to spend about $92 billion this year alone, building out their entire massive computing infrastructure, and they need Nvidia's chips and processors. So the analyst has boosted his price target on Nvidia to $180 a share while affirming his overweight rating. Let's take a look at another article that says that Nvidia will hit a $6 trillion. So now it's about $3 trillion, but these analysts say that it will hit about $6 trillion in valuation by the end of the year as investors start to realize how cheap the stock is. That's what a hedge fund manager said. So this hedge fund manager expects that Nvidia stock to hit $250 by end of the year, and it is still cheap based on the forward price to earning multiple. So the hedge fund manager mentioned that Nvidia is still cheap based on a valuation perspective, right? Because on average over the past 5 years, Nvidia's average forward price to earning multiple was about 40 times, right? And there were only a few times where it gone above 50 times or maybe above 70 times. So right now it's only about 39 times price to earnings, whereby it still looks relatively cheap from a valuation perspective. And this hedge fund manager projection projection is betting that as investors start to focus on Nvidia earning potential in 2025 and 2026, euphoria could drive Nvidia well above its average forward PE multiple and closer to its peak, maybe more than 50, 60, 70 times. And Jackson also added that Nvidia had a sizable lead over its competition and would take advantage of that for years to come. And there are other analysts and research houses as well that have raised the target price of Nvidia. So you can see that right over here, Constellation Research and Rosenblatt have a 200 price target for Nvidia. Bank of America recently reiterated its $150 price target as well. Alright, so that was some of the news flow and what some of the analysts and hedge fund managers are saying as well. So you have a better picture in terms of the fundamental perspective. But let's now dive into the charts of Nvidia to see where we are right now, what has happened over the past few months, and where can we potentially head to. Are there, targets that can be revised higher as well? And by the way guys, if you like this video, go ahead to give me a like, smash the subscribe button as well, hit the follow, that will really help out the channel, and thank you so much for doing this. So let's go into Nvidia chart right now. So you can see right over here, we are trading at about $134. So as I mentioned, right, just last month, Nvidia did a stock split, a 10-for-1 stock split. So the price used to be over $1,000, $1,002, and of course it has adjusted downwards by about 10 times. So 1,000 divided by 10 is like about $100, 1,002 divided by 10 is about $120. So you can see right now it's about $134.91. All right, so let's take a look at what has happened, over the past few months. So you can see that for Nvidia, we have been in the very strong, I would say, uptrend in the longer term since last year. So I've covered Nvidia in the previous video last month, and I mentioned that since beginning of last year, somewhere over here in 2023, right, there were already signs of the uptrend forming just by looking at the 100 days moving average, the red line actually crossing above the 200 days moving average. So that was a sign for longer term uptrend. Of course, in the short term, we did see a bit of a consolidation right over here. It was somewhere around like, that 500 to that 400. Of course, prices have adjusted downwards like $40 to $50, but that was the range where it consolidated for like about 5 to 6 months, and finally it broke 500, which would now be like $50. It started to surge up even more. So over the past few weeks, you can see that we pushed all the way to a new high of around $140. So 140, I would say, would be the resistance level to watch. That was where we headed to about 2-3 weeks back. You can see right over here, and quite a bearish candle, I would say, came out, and we started to sell down by 1 to 3 days. Found a support, thankfully, right? So what would be the near-term support for now? Well, I would say that we may have seen a support coming back, I would say somewhere around the 115 to 120, right? Let's just give it a bit of leeway, maybe about 115. I think that would be like the near-term support that we have been trying to hold above since the beginning of June. So about more than a month, all right, after we sold off, we came back now to near 115 to 120. And in fact, we saw a couple of bullish candlestick coming out. You can see quite a bullish candlestick coming out. That will kind of like give a little bit more weight to the 115 to 120 being a good support level. All right, so we started to consolidate, I would say, for more than 2 weeks, and it seems like over the past few days. So look at this right over here. You can see over the past few days, we actually saw a little bit of a resistance. So that would be like a temporary resistance level somewhere around the 128 to 130. Look at this, right? Came down, but 3 days ago or 2 days ago, you can see we kind of went above this resistance level, the 128 to 130, right? So that could be a sign of strength because we are actually moving out of this 2 weeks sideways consolidation whereby 130 was a resistance. So that could be a good move whereby we may start to see the reversal. So upside targets could be all the way up to that same 140, right? $140 based on the adjusted stock split prices. You can see that is the resistance level. So now it's like 134.91. So we might push up a little bit more, maybe to retest the $140, right? But let's take note, right? As we have seen some bearish candlestick previously, right? We may actually see some profit taking coming back again near the 140. So we might consolidate. It might happen like push up. We see a bit of consolidation, and hopefully we're to break the 140. My take is that if we can break the 140, we go to like 142, 145, 143. above 140, that could be the next phase of the upside. That is where, you know, upside targets could be revised, maybe all the way to like 150, right? 150 could be the upside targets, or maybe even to $160 as well. So it seems like it's doing what we call like a $10 to $20 range each time. So after 140, it could be anywhere from 150 to $160. That could be the upside. But as I mentioned, we need to clear and we need to break above that 140 key psychological resistance level for now. So you can see that for Nvidia, right, in terms of the short-term trend. So I mentioned the longer-term trend has been up since the beginning of last year, way before this, you know, stock split. But in terms of the short-term trend, right, we want to focus on what we call the 20 days moving average line. So we look at what we call the green line. So the green line is what we call the 20 days moving average line. It gives a little bit of an insight on the short-term trend of a stock. So you can see, right, in terms of the short-term trend for Nvidia, since like beginning of the year, I mentioned we broke the 500, that would be like $50 adjusted prices, and it started to surge up all the way, and the 20 days moving average, the green line, which was flat, started to point up, right, all the way until like April, right, April just this year. You can see it started to flatten out and maybe even point down a little bit, right? Until somewhere in May, you can see prices going back above the 20 days moving average, and this green line also started to slope back up. Does it make sense? Right, that's where we are starting to see signs of the short-term trend also turning up after like about 1 or 2 months of weakness. So you can see right now, right, in terms of the 20 days moving average, right, this 20 days green line was stopping up. It started to flatten out a little bit, but it's still slightly stopping up, right? And you see right now, it has started to stop up even more because I think we have, as I mentioned, broke above the 130 to 128 resistance level. So it looks pretty good in terms of the short-term trend. I think as long as prices were to stay above this green line, with this green line stopping up, the short-term uptrend remains intact. And as I mentioned, if we were to break the 140, well, even better, right? This green line will start to point up even firmer, all right? And you know, that's where we could see upside targets being revised. Yep, that's it for Nvidia, NVDA. I hope you have a better idea of where we are right now and my take on Nvidia. What are some of the targets that we can potentially hit to if we were to break some of the key levels, right? And if you like this video, guys, go to give me a like, smash the subscribe button, hit the follow button. That will definitely help out the channel, and thank you so much for doing that. And if you want to find out a little bit more in terms of like the entire strategy, right, behind you know, what I've done for Nvidia in terms of the analysis, you can attend one of my free webinars that I'm still running. The link is right below this video or around this video. Click on it, register for this webinar, whereby I've shared with you guys my one good trend strategy on when to actually get in, when to get out, and how do we even focus on stocks like these, winning stocks that has potential to move higher, there's a potential to make us profits and gains, right? You want to find out more? Attend a free webinar. So Joey here, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.